Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Philip Duncan. Well, we're tracking a lot of high pressure in the New Zealand area and also around Australia as well. This map, we don't show you this very often, but this shows all the thunderstorms and the air flows and air pressure systems around the Pacific Ocean, North America, and we've got China right there. So a lot of thunderstorms around the tropical area. That's not surprising at all, caught up in that easterly flow. Some of those thunderstorms coming down to around Fiji and Vanuatu thanks to some low pressure. And speaking of low pressure, we've got two around Australia, one near Perth and one between Brisbane and Sydney. Neither of them are very aggressive, but both are producing thunderstorms and some rain. Most of it is offshore, but the rest of the map, pretty much high pressure dominating along here, which is why it's very quiet in the New Zealand area. So on this map, this is the air pressure plus wind, and as you can see in the bright whites and yellows, this is all high pressure. That low just off from Sydney, very weak, barely showing up. The low just near Vanuatu and New Caledonia, a little bit bigger, but that is not coming anywhere near us with this huge area of high pressure. And look at the fine line down here in the Southern Ocean from high pressure to low pressure, caught up in the very typical autumn westerlies. But because of the big blocking high, those windy westerlies we normally get in autumn are being pushed down towards Antarctica. So this is how it looks at the moment. Here is the Thursday setup. High pressure still smothers New Zealand. That's why there are no thunderstorms there. We've got a few thunderstorms out at sea from that weak low and the other low just coming out of the tropics, caught up in this very wet nor'easter, which is going to Australia, not us. We need it in New Zealand very much at the moment, but high pressure is our main feature, and we've got that other system out there near Perth. As we get to the end of the week, the low near Australia starts to move a little bit further out to sea, but it's still pushing in rain from Sydney southwards with some heavy falls, but dry in New Zealand other than maybe a couple of isolated showers. This is a very big high at 1037 hectopascals, pretty powerful. So let's go into the weekend. We've got some rain coming through. This is the rainfall accumulation from Saturday morning to Sunday night. So basically covering most of Saturday and, all of Saturday and Sunday pretty much, just a little bit at either end. So we've got a bit of rain falling on the west coast here, quite a bit actually. It's up over the 100 millimetre mark, so there'll be a fair bit of rain falling over on the west coast. But for the more populated areas like Westport, Greymouth, Hokitika, you're a little bit lower than that. You're probably down around 50 or 60 millimetres. South of Greymouth, those rainfall totals lift up. So if you're around Hokitika, you could be getting up closer to 100 millimetres. But again, eastern areas in that dark blue shading, that's just a couple of spits, couple of showers, maybe, and otherwise it might be completely dry. And the green area, 2 to 5 millimetres for the whole weekend, so not very much rain coming east of the main ranges. Here is Saturday's setup. So as you can see, it's actually dry on the west coast at first on Saturday, but then these rain clouds come down. This was that system out near Sydney being pulled apart and also joining forces a wee bit with that other system that was up near Vanuatu and New Caledonia. So there's a fair bit of humidity coming down, so that rain doesn't start until later on over on the west coast. It's dry for almost everyone else, but there might just be a couple of isolated little showers caught up in that nor'easter. By Sunday, more of those little light showers around the North Island, but the bulk of the rain with some subtropical elements to it, especially in the north, is continuing along the west coast, and it moves into the North Island later on, although it's fairly patchy because this is the Monday setup, so it's very slow to move into the North Island. Sunday night, Monday is when you get a chance of those showers or patchy rain. The rainfall accumulations won't be much, and if you live in eastern New Zealand, don't expect very much at all. Also happening on Monday, we've got this system here around Adelaide and Melbourne that'll be driving in a windy, cold and wet southerly for you. And then we go into Tuesday, which is our final map, and there is a fair bit of low pressure once again in the southeastern corner of Australia. For those who have been monitoring that, they've actually had quite a bit over the last several months in that area. We're missing out, more high pressure at both ends of New Zealand by Tuesday next week. But we are watching that system, and hopefully by the end of next week, so that's what, 8-9 days from now, we do hope some of that wet weather will make it over to New Zealand. But for now, we're still leaning drier than average with the exception of the west coast. That is all from me. We'll see you again tomorrow with our next update.